Alas, poor Oric, I knew him well. If any of you know your Shakespeare, that was an homage to Hamlet, I think it was. This is Herman the Human Head. He's going to help us out today by talking about how the skull or how facial features are kind of lined up on a human face. So, we're going to be drawing human faces today. Thank you, Herman. We're going to set you off to the side. I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit. This is take 2 of our drawing tutorial today. The first one, the audio got messed up, so I appreciate your patience as we've been waiting to get this posted for you guys today. However, here we are. We're going to try this again. So here we're going to draw some proportions of the human face. I've got my art pencils here. I've got quite a few different ones. I'm going to be using my HB pencil to do my light sketching because it'll show up on camera, but it'll be light enough for me to erase. I'm going to use a blending stump at some point a little bit later down the line, and of course I've got my nice eraser. And then when we get in with some shading, we can use our 2B, 4B, and 6B pencils. So I'm just going to set that off to the side for now, and we're just going to concentrate on using this tool right here. So first things first, we're going to set up kind of a grid of how to proportionally put your eyes, nose, and mouth and other facial features together on your paper so that it looks more natural. A lot of times when people are making faces, they're not really sure what those proportions should be, and then they wind up with eyes that are way too big and noses that are way too small, and then it winds up looking kind of cartoony or funky in some way or another. And then they're not really satisfied with the results. So we're going to try a human face here. I am just drawing some guide marks to establish where the top and the bottom of my head is going to be so that I don't wind up going off the paper. I don't want this to explode off the paper so far that I can't figure out how to add all of my facial features. I don't know if you've ever drawn something where you started here and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and then you ran out of paper. Or it was just really small and then you had all this empty space that now you have to fill. So we're going to start with the top and bottom, and then I'm going to divide that space in half. I want to do this fairly evenly, so I'm just kind of guessing and checking. So I'm lining up the tip of my pencil with the top and my fingers with the bottom of the mark that I just made and checking to make sure that that's about even. And that looks pretty darn close. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to draw a line straight across. This is hopefully about halfway from top to bottom. This is going to be my eye line, this halfway point right here. I'm going to divide this in half one more time. So this is going to be half right here. We're going to check that. Looks pretty good. This is going to be where my nose sits. So this is going to be eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that across. I want to make sure that that's about halfway between those two things, between my eye line and my chin. This is going to be where my chin sits right here. Chin right there. And then halfway from the tippy top of my head and to my eyes, that's going to be where my hairline is. Now this is going to seem really far down. So this is a quarter. I should say this is a quarter. There we go. This is going to seem like this is a lot of space, but from the top of your eyebrows and your hairline to the tippy top of your head, we always forget about this space. If we eliminate this space, it's going to look like somebody hit you over the head with a frying pan and flattened out your skull, and we don't want that. So if we took a look at Herman, here Herman, there we go. If you can see from the top of his head, we might need to zoom out just a little bit. There's too much Herman. There we go. From the top of the head to the base of the chin, there's a lot happening from here all the way to here. This would be about where your eyes sit. And you can see that that's about the halfway mark between here and here. Now, this is not a super accurate representation. This is a plastic, like, bank. So things might be proportionally a little different based on each individual person, but generally speaking, your eyes would be like right there, and the rest of it is going to be proportionate to this grid here that we've got. So recapping real fast, we got the top of the head, which is, we're going to try to focus this a little bit better. Oh, there we go. So here's the top of our head. Here's our hairline, which is about halfway between, or a quarter of the way down. We have our eye line right here. We've got our nose right here. And our mouth is actually going to sit somewhere in a third here, and then this is going to be our chin. So our mouth is going to sit right about here at this third. So we got a third and 2/3. So this is going to be chin. This is going to be mouth right here. Okay, now we're going to draw some circles and stuff. So we're going to divide this in half real quick, and I got to figure out where the sides of my face are going to go. So I'm going to connect this top part with this bottom quarter. So I'm going to do a circle that encompasses about this much. So I'm going to go all the way down to the where the nose would be, and I'm going to draw a circle, and I want this to be about even on either side. So we're going to go like this. And I am using my shoulder. Notice my wrist is not moving, because your shoulder gives you a much better circle. So let's use that ball joint. All right, now I've got a bunch of scribbly lines here. Not all of them are what I need. I'm going to just check my width of my circle here and check that it's even on either side. Looks like I need to keep this line right here and this line right here to keep it about even on either side. So what we're doing right now is we are drawing the back of the base of the skull. That would be this round part back here, right? Round part of our head that's kind of holds our brain and stuff in place. So important that that's there. So we drew that. Now we're going to draw the kind of box of the face, so to speak. So this part of the face, this lower half where we've got the eyes and the chin and everything, kind of creates this square shape. Depending on the person, if you've got like muscles right here or a lot of fat deposits, you might have puffier cheeks, or you may have really, really thin, aggressively angular features depending on your genetic makeup. So we are going to draw the box of the face right here. I'm just going to go straight down to where that chin line is from the sides of my skull. So this is the front of the face. Now, if this is our chin, we've got a couple options here. If we had somebody who's very angular and very masculine and we wanted a square jaw, then when we tip up this line right here, we would square that off, and that's going to give us kind of a square jawline. Notice that this is where the mouth is, so that's kind of where that corner is going to be. If we had somebody who is more feminine or more rounded features, then we would typically round this off to the chin, and this is a much subtler curve. It's generally kind of considered more feminine, although there are plenty of more masculine people who have rounded features and plenty of feminine people who have more angular features. So it really depends on personal preference and what kind of face shape you're going for. So we've got two different face shapes here, the right side and the left side. So now we've got this set up. We've got our face shape. We've got roughly where all of our features need to go. Now we can kind of get into actually drawing some of this stuff in here. If this is my hairline, I'm going to let this kind of tip down at the corners, just so that I remember that this is kind of hair right here. This is hair. We can get into hair later, but that's just so that we generally remember where things are supposed to go. All right, so now we need to put in some of our other features. My eye line kind of disappeared here, but this is where my eyes are going to go. Already you can kind of see this looks a little bit better than it did before. I'm going to put my brow line right above my eyes. If I divided this into thirds, that's about where this would go. We'll worry about that in just a few minutes. I'm going to divide this now into fifths. So I'm going to start down here, and it helps if we kind of establish where the center is. I think this is the center right about there. These lines get a little confusing. Let's fix that up. All right, so here's my center. I'm going to divide this into fifths. So I am kind of guesstimating here about how wide a fifth would be. I think that's about right. So we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4, and we got 5. And these should be even. If they are uneven, it's going to throw some of our measurements off here. So that looks pretty good. I've got 1, 2, this is 3 in the middle, 4, and 5. Now, why are these important? Well, we're going to use these marks for a couple different things. The first thing we're going to do is put our neck in here. So between 1 and 2, that first fifth is going to be where our neck goes, and that helps hold up our giant head. And between our fourth and fifth one, same thing over here. So this is where we're establishing a neck. Makes it easier for our person to stand upright if they have enough support. Your esophagus, your spine, your muscles holding up your head that turns it from side to side, all of that has to fit in your neck. So if you've got a little toothpick neck holding up your giant orb, then it's not going to work out so well for your person. It would easily snap and they wouldn't survive. So we want to make sure that our people have a chance to survive after this is over. Next, I'm going to take those lines, I'm going to extend them up because this is going to help me establish where the outside corner of my eyes would be. So on either side, and then as you guessed it, this is going to establish where the inside corner of my eyes are right here. So I've got an eye width in between my eyes, and now we can use the same technique that we used the other day to build our eyes on either side and create some natural looking eyes for our person. So we're just going to quickly drop this in. If you need a refresher on how to do eyes, then I suggest you look at the slideshow from Monday that we posted in Canvas so that you can make sure that you've got all of the different features of the eye. We've got a water line down here. We've got a muscle in the side. Here we go. Now, mine aren't perfectly symmetrical, and that's okay. We'll just, this dude or dudette might not be perfectly symmetrical, and that's all right. So we're going to put in our iris. We're going to put in our pupil. He looks a little worried for some reason. I can't sort that out. He's not so depressed. He needs a mouth. He needs to smile. Maybe we need some smiley eyes. So we can kind of tip them up in the corner and make him look a little bit less worried. There we go. So at this point, we don't have any shading in. I'm not going to worry about shading at the moment. We're just looking for placement at this point. So I'm going to leave off with the eyes there, and now we're going to go to where our nose is going to be. And as you can see, where this kind of bends, this kind of creates where our cheekbones are, and then our nose is going to sit right on this line right here. And this has already kind of established that curve. So now I can create the end of the nose, whatever shape I want that to be. This inside corner of the eyes is going to be where my nostrils sit. So if I need to try to figure out how to make those a little bit more even, I can do that. There we go. Put our nostrils right here. And again, this tutorial for noses was for Tuesday's slideshow, and you can find that on Canvas as well. So we have the end of our nose. We're going to tip this up just like we did the other day and extend this up. And as I mentioned yesterday, this extends up over your eyes and connects your eyes to your brow bone. And if this is about a third from the top to here, then our brow bone would kind of be right here. This is going to tip over and arch over the eyes, and it establishes our brow bone right here. Helps us connect all the different features of the face. As we mentioned on Monday in our eye tutorial, your eyebrows typically start kind of towards the corner of your eye right here. So we're going to just kind of establish where the eyebrows would go right there. And you can make these eyebrows however you want to. If you want them nice and full and bushy, they can be full and bushy and scraggly, or they can be very pencil thin, depending on your preferences. So we're going to figure out where our nostrils are going to go. Here's our nose. We're not worried about shading right now, just the structure, so we can come back and adjust and fix things later if we need to. All right, so we've got eyes, we've got nose, we've got eyebrows, we've got hairline, we need a mouth, and we said our mouth was going to sit right here. And if we need to figure out where the corner of the mouth is, this is why we put the eyes in first, is because we need to know where those pupils are. It's going to be halfway between this mark right here. So we're going to go straight down, and that's going to establish the corner of our mouth. If you were to draw a line straight up from the corner of your mouth, you'd hit about the middle center of your eye. So that gives us a guide mark of how big the mouth needs to be. And now we can follow the same formula that we did before yesterday on how we set up the mouth. So we're going to put our little V shape right here. Typically that would kind of line up with the inside corner of your nostrils right there. We've got this little smile that happens below there. We're going to connect this with the sides of the mouth. We can decide which shape we want that to be, depending on the person. I swooped it down just a little bit. I'm doing a little different mouth shape today. There we go. All right, we're going to swoop this towards the corners. We must set a little smile here. And then we can decide how full we want that bottom lip. And fill that in right here. So there we go. All right, so now we have some pretty natural sized features that feel like they fit the face. We've got enough space here on the side of the face. Remember, a lot of this would be shading because you would have the face tipping away from us in space. Some people have wider faces, and some people this feels very narrow, but it's because we're seeing a lot of shading right here. We have our lips, we have our mouth. Sorry, that's the same thing as lips. We have our mouth, our sense of taste. We have our sense of smell with our nose. We have our sense of sight. Now we need our ears. Ears would go about the top of your eye. If you were to extend a line over, that would be the top of your ears. And the bottom of your nose is where your ears tend to land. So we can do a little kidney bean shape off to the side here, and this would be the shape of your ears. Some people have ears that are more prominent and kind of stick out from their head a little bit more. So depending on what kind of ears you want, you can kind of put them right there wherever you need them. So here's our ear shape right there. And then last but not least, of course, we would need some hair. So depending on how you want to do hair, generally we're going to start with the outside shape first. So we could have some hair that's curly or wavy and kind of sticks out and comes down like this. And we do the outside shape. Maybe it overlaps the ear, maybe it tucks behind, or maybe we have something that's shorter and kind of just comes close to the top of the head, and that's it. So if we were doing a guy, maybe we'd have some shorter hair. If we were doing a girl, then maybe we'd have some longer hair. So it really depends on who you're drawing, what you're drawing it for, and what you want that to look like. At this point, we could start adding some of the shading that we've tried before. I'm going to leave that up to you. We're going to stop here for today. I think that's plenty. We're just trying to figure out the placement of where everything's going to go, and then we'll pick up where we left off next week. Have fun drawing today, guys. Hope you had a great time with the tutorial. I'm going to take a picture of this and post it in the classroom at the end. That way you guys can see the full thing. But have fun today, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.